Good evening. We're here at 7 o'clock for the October 13th, 2021 meeting of the Wilmington Board of Appeals, Town Wilmington Board of Appeals. As a predicate matter on the docket, we have a case that was continued from July 14th, 2021. That was case 1621, map A90, parcel 10, and it's 31 Arlene Ave, and the applicant is requesting that be withdrawn. They would continue it till today. They want to withdraw it without prejudice for the request for the variance to construct a garage 10 feet from the side setback where 20 feet is required. So he's looking to withdraw this without prejudice. So do I have a motion to withdraw this?
Sure. I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Ray, seconded by Ms. Santini. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. That's officially withdrawn without prejudice. Okay. And then the only other matter on the agenda tonight is case 1921, Metro sign and awning, map 40, parcel 2C, 615 Main Street, to acquire a special permit under 6.3.3.1 and 6.3.6.3 to allow for a sign. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Can you please tell us your name and who you represent if you're not the applicant itself?
My name is Mark Conserva. I'm with Metro Sign and Awning in Tewksbury. I believe we're listed as the applicant here, but we're
Okay.
designated representative
Yep.
of both property owners of 615 Main Street and the subject property 613 Main Street. If I could, I'd like just to read a brief narrative that I wrote.
Sure.
Cover all my points,
Sure.
and I hope everybody has a package and
Yep.
has been able to review it. Okay, petitioner, Metro Sign and Awning, 170 Lawrence Street, Tewksbury, Mass, with designated representative of PPF Industrial, 613 Main LLC, which is Sayon Group. That's, and also the property owner of 615 Main Street is Charles and Ruth Doucette. That's the property that the sign will sit on.
Okay.
The zoning district is general industrial. And just as a brief introduction, pursuant to the Town of Wilmington zoning bylaw ordinance 6.3, signs and advertising devices, section 6.3.2, special permits. In particular instances, the planning board.
Hold on one second, there's a little. You can shut that, Jackie. Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Sorry about that.
Okay. In particular instances, the planning board, acting as a special permit granting authority, may issue special permits for more or larger signs if it is deemed certain facts and conditions exist. And the relevant sections of the Wilmington bylaws that we're gonna enter tonight is prohibited signs in all districts, subsection 6.3.3.1. All signs not located on the same premises as the advertised activity are prohibited except on off-premises identification or directional sign designating the route to a specific recognized industrial center, not on the street to which the sign is located or on private property. By special permit of the Board of Appeals shall be granted only upon the determination that such sign will promote the public interest, will not endanger the public safety, it will not be detrimental to the neighborhood. Also, subsection 6.3.6.3, paragraph A, freestanding signs are limited to one per lot, must be a maximum of 15 feet in height, grade to the top of the sign, must be a minimum setback of 10 feet from the property line, contain, that's at 5 square feet, it should be 50 square feet, I apologize, and may be illuminated, that should not be illuminated, but there is a change in our proposal. Originally, it was proposed as an internally illuminated sign, and that's been withdrawn. We are going to be a non-illuminated sign.
Okay.
Okay. The relief requested, section 6.3.3.1, proposed sign contains 50 square feet, is not internally illuminated. The proposed off-premise sign to service 613 Main Street sits on a sign easement on the lot of 615 Main Street. And also subsection, like I said, 6.3.6.3, an existing freestanding directory sign services to tenants of 615 Main Street. The proposal calls for a freestanding sign to meet the tenant identification and directional needs of the ownership of the tenants at 613 Main Street. The building at 613 Main Street is set back approximately 350 to 425 feet from Main Street. If you don't mind, it's fogging up my glasses.
Yeah, I know that just happened to me.
Okay, the background. 613 Main Street, former site of Sweetheart Plastics. Sits approximately 345 feet from Main Street and has been serviced by a driveway easement over the property of 615 Main Street since 1981. A copy of the original easement and plan is attached as part of this application. The driveway easement is utilized for shipping and receiving customers, sales representatives, and employees. The property was purchased by basically Sayon Group in 2017 and then transferred again to a different name, but it is Sayon Group. Current tenants are Lowe's and Hoffman's Association Warehouse and Distribution Centers. The easement is 26 feet, that it says long it should be wide, and runs 217 feet across the property of 615 Main Street to the property of 613 Main Street. Presently, no location nor directional signage exists for the 613 Main Street facility. A significant hazard exists as trailer truck drivers, as well as other users, slow down and significantly impair the traffic in an already congested area. A large percentage of these trucks pass right by the driveway and create more turmoil as they seek locations in which to turn their rigs. This affects greatly the neighboring properties and/or business owners, as well as pedestrians attempt to negotiate their way past the hodgepodge of parking lot entrances and exits. The current ownership of 615 and 613 Main Street have caused the execution of a new document, the amended and restated easement agreement, which you have a copy of, including a new easement plan recorded in Middlesex Registry of Deeds, and that's attached, like I said. The modified agreement and plan have a slightly increased portion of the easement to include a sign easement area at the intersection of Main Street and the entrance to the driveway. The intention is to install a freestanding address directional tenant identification sign with the intention to mitigate a dangerous situation existing since at least 1981 by giving truck drivers the ability to safely and efficiently navigate to the entrance of the driveway. The mitigation plan and new sign requires special permit from the Town of Wilmington Planning Board acting as special permit granting authority. The proposed sign, if permitted, will most certainly promote the public interest, alleviate a situation which has endangered the public safety for far too long, and will most certainly benefit the neighborhood. As a point of reference, with its location in the General Industrial Zone and District, the proposed sign would be permitted by right were it on the property of 613 Main Street. General Industrial District requirements are one freestanding sign per building lot, display area not to exceed 50 square feet, maximum height of the sign 15 feet grade to the top of the sign, minimum setback from the property line 10 feet, and if it wasn't trimmed and illuminated, it would be according to the.
So other than the illumination, you want the sign to be illuminated. Does everything else remain unchanged in your application?
That's correct.
Okay. Before we, let's see what the planning board had to say about that.
So the planning board on September 14th said to recommend disapproval. The proposed off-premises sign is larger than the zoning bylaw allows, which is 5 square feet, and appears to be, internally lit, which now it doesn't, which is not allowed by section, which she means the lighting.
Okay.
Additionally, the sign is not designed as a directional sign as allowed by the zoning bylaw. The applicant should consider a more appropriately sized directional sign. She wants it to be downsized.
And the current size is, you said it was 15?
50 square feet.
50.
That's what is allowed by right in that general industrial zone. So
That's not what she's saying though, is it?
no, there's a different provision
Additionally,
in the
this,
bylaw.
right, the sign is not designed as a directional sign. The applicant should consider a more appropriately sized directional sign.
Well, if there's no sign there now, and it's on the easement into the property, it can be argued that's a directional sign.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, how
it's
else are you gonna,
like, put an arrow at the end,
I mean,
bottom of
how
it
else are you
and
gonna know
go
what's
that-
in there if it's,
So this is, yeah, so both, the building inspector agreed with Mark that it needed it, because it is a hazard. But the, planning board sent him here saying they want it downsized.
so they're saying that it's either an advertising sign or an informational sign?
They think it's more for advertising reasons.
But there's nothing else, there's no other sign on the property, correct, indicating what's on the property?
Correct.
I disagree with the planning board. It's not the first time, won't be the last, but that's just me.
Mhm.
I'll just note that there's no one here from the audience, and we're not doing Zoom, so I'm gonna close the public hearing on this. Does anybody in the board have any questions or comments?
Yeah, a couple. So what does the sign say?
Right here.
I have a copy of it, it's right in the packet here.
Oh, this is the projected sign right here? Is
That's
it?
the sign.
Yeah, look at the next page too.
So how does that, why does this help safety? I'm losing.
There's no sign to 613, to the building and back,
Yeah.
613. There's no sign to it. And it's a distribution sign for manufacturing warehouse.
Yeah.
Rigs coming back and forth have created for years a dangerous situation there. They can't find the entrance. This is so they can find the entrance.
And this is right where the bridge is, right?
No.
No, I see, okay.
See that Shell station? across
Yeah, that's where okay.
So, but to kind of like, say that the planning board is looking for some directional, would you be amenable to say, to like put an arrow at the bottom? Because even at this it's not saying where to go for 613 in a way.
It doesn't say anything.
Well,
There's no arrow, nothing.
yeah, so do you know what I'm saying? Would you be amenable to put an arrow? saying
Absolutely.
Something, I mean, then everybody,
Absolutely.
I think that makes sense. If then the intention of the board is clear that it's a directional sign.
So having the sign smaller,
Mhm.
why would that be an issue? Having it, in regulation size.
It is regulation size.
Yeah, if it's a directional sign, the planning board thought it was an advertising sign. The height and the restrictions are
Well, it is an
different.
advertising sign.
Yeah, but he's arguing, and I agree with him, and apparently the building inspector agrees, that it serves more as a directional sign because there's nothing there to indicate.
Do you know how many accidents have been there? Occurred without the sign? To me, this is clearly I understand where he's coming from, but this is clearly an advertising sign. Because even the arrow isn't even there. If the arrow was there, then I could see what the intention is, but this is clearly an advertising sign. People going by and seeing the company.
But it's a distribution center, right? So the only people that are gonna be going in and out of there are trucks. You want them to know where they're going.
Well, you
And these
also
are-
have Hoffman's Associates on the bottom of it, right?
Those are
think
the
they're-
tenants.
are they-
Those are the
they're in-
tenants of the
so this-
building.
Right,
kinda
so
like-
they get advantage of advertising as well, right?
Wrong location again.
well, nobody knows that they're back there?
No.
So in this building,
Yes.
they are their offices are located in there. Yes or no?
I'm not exactly sure, I'm sure there's office space, but it's generally for distribution and warehouse.
I mean, if we don't deem it to be a directional sign, then it would have to be 5 feet tall. And you've got rigs coming in and out of there.
We will absolutely put an arrow there, whatever you would like. I agree with you. I did not design this, but I absolutely agree with you.
I mean, you see the distinction, right? In the bylaw,
Yes, I
there's
do.
2 different kinds.
Right.
And the planning board, is looking at it under one section of the bylaw. And if they are correct, then it's a 5-foot sign. But if you're in a rig and you're in a truck and you're driving down there, a 5-foot sign, that's not even as tall as a road sign.
That's right. That's right.
So you're willing to put an arrow on the sign to make it clear
Very
that this is the
distinct arrow.
entrance and egress for that particular
And of course,
place.
this is double-sided too, so there'd be an arrow on both sides, and it'll be a distinct arrow.
How big are the trucks that are coming in, that will be coming in? Are they Lowe's? I'm assuming they're
Yeah, 16-wheel rigs.
16 wheels, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but, go ahead, Ray. would you
The
like-
only question I have is, how many more like tenants are in the rear?
Just two. Those are the only
That's
two
it, there's
tenants,
just two.
that's it.
So in other words, in the future, this would be a permanent sign as far as where it is, but if you were to break it up and add one or two more, tenants, they would they be able to put their name on this same sign rather than have another spot for 613 also? That's
Well,
what-
if it's large enough
Yes,
to
that's-
accompany them all,
yeah.
and you're saying that it's gonna be how large, width and height?
It's approximately 75 inches high and 96 inches wide. So
And,
it's,
given that
that's-
size, how much more room on that sign would you have to put any additional tenants if they wanted to?
I suppose you could carve it up, but
That's not your.
that would have to go before, I would say that would have to go back before you.
If the sign's already there, we approve it,
Right.
and whoever decided it's already a certain size that's been approved, I mean,
If that happens, I can just say if they wanna alter an existing sign,
Exactly.
that has to get approved by the building department.
right.
That has to be a building permit, planning has to agree,
Yeah, and I mean,
Building inspector.
I think that would probably be appropriate.
and if they don't, then it
I mean,
gets
you don't
kicked
want
back
it to look,
here.
you don't want it to look like one of those signs you see in Maine, this town over
Right,
here,
right,
this town
right,
over
right.
Exactly.
That's not their intention at all.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's not their intention.
Well, I'm just thinking of the future, but
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, I have no problem with it. I think maybe the 613 is basically showing the truckers where 613 is with the arrow. I'm not gonna tell you how to make a sign because you're the pro, but if anything, I actually make 613 a little bit more standout, maybe a little bit larger on the print on the 613. So when our trailer rig is coming, they'll catch an eyeball before going past it. And you know what that traffic is right there by the Shell station to turn. If you could just enlarge the 613 a little bit bigger
Did you see
with the
this,
arrow.
you're
I think
looking
it's
at this
modified.
page, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see where the 613 is, it's at the top. It just doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not really clearly,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you can't clearly see it according to the drawing, but the 613, depending on how you
Look
do the
at it.
font and everything,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean-
that probably looks like to me like it's big enough if they did it right.
Yeah, that's my point, as long as they put the stress, my
Right.
opinion is on this, it's the location is what we're looking for. So 613 could be the viewpoint, the standout.
I mean, the bottom line
It's
is,
your call, I mean, I have no problem with it, but I'm just saying for an opinion, if you could just put a little more into that 613, I think it'll help on the further run, because we have a lot of truckers, as you know, coming from out of state, all over
But you know,
the place.
truckers, when they make
Yeah.
turns, okay, I'm not buying that this is being put up for safety issues. I mean, that's just a cloud cover, okay? This is being put up for advertisement, and they're using, in my opinion, they're using the safety issue. There has been no accidents that I know of in that area. When a truck makes a turn, it's not screeching in there, it stops, it makes its turn, it goes slow, and it goes in, okay? So I don't know of anything, it isn't like it's a large arc that something's gonna happen, okay? They're spending all this money for fear of safety? I don't think so. I don't
well,
think
you know,
so.
you're
I
saying
think
that,
it's the
you're saying
location.
that the advertisement must be for Homans then, because Lowe's is not selling anything there.
But still, I mean, it's still an Lowe's is Lowe's, I mean, Lowe's is Lowe's.
But it's a distribution center.
It doesn't matter, it's going by and you see Lowe's, you know, and you see Hoffman's, I mean, it's definitely an advertisement. It definitely is. So I mean, I agree with the planning board in a sense where, you know, this is not a safety, this isn't a safety issue. I mean, in my opinion, it's not a safety issue. If we had issues in the past about that, I get it, but, you know, a truck stops, slows, turns, or comes in and goes out. I mean, where's the safety issue?
So you think it should be the size of less than the guy in the picture? Because that's what he'd be allowed if it wasn't a directional
Well,
sign.
you know, I think so, yeah, I mean, I
Well,
want it
then
to
what's
be.
gonna happen when a truck careens off and
Well-
goes over the side because they
But what,
did.
you know, one could say there's a blowout, the thing goes over, or one could say that there's ice and it slips into the thing. I mean, you know, you could go all over Wilmington and find out.
If you're on 38 and you're driving a 16-wheeler and you're coming down looking for something, and then you see something the size, less than the size of the man in that picture, you're gonna see people slamming on their brakes and you're gonna see problems.
Do you have any evidence of any trucker that's had issues or any screeching or issues? Have you had anything at all to substantiate your situation of safety?
As far as safety?
Yeah,
Only in that I've lived in this area my whole life, and I know that's a dangerous situation. I grew up in Tewksbury. Many times when we first started coming up, we did 93 wasn't even built. We'd come up with
No, I understand.
38 through Woburn. It's always been a dangerous situation as far as I'm concerned. Do I know how many accidents? I'm not sure. Do I imagine if there haven't been a lot, there's been close calls, or, like I say, trucks go by, they're turning around, they're creating a dangerous situation that way. They do not intend, this is, I can see what you're saying about advertising, but that is not the intention. The intention is for the truckers to be able to locate the site
well, that's different. That's not safety.
safely.
Yeah, but they can only have a 5-foot sign unless it's less you deem it a directional sign. And I would argue that a 5-foot sign is just a little bit better than nothing. If you're in a truck. But, I mean, it's just my opinion. But the planning board is correct. If this is deemed an advertising sign, it's too big.
Well, it is an advertising sign.
I disagree, but, you know.
But if he puts an arrow on it, does it change your mind?
Well, that just says that Rose and Hopkins is here.
Yeah, to
That
go
doesn't
to,
help the safety. I don't think that arrow's gonna help anything. I mean, the guy's on his truck, I mean, he's slowing down, his GPS is saying it's coming up on the right, it's coming up on the right, and then he's looking, he's slowing down, and he looks, and there it is. I don't think that he's racing down and all of a sudden he passes it.
If you're in a 16-wheeler and you're coming down 38, you're not familiar with the area, and you know you're going to the Lowe's distribution center, whether you call it advertising or whether you call it a directional, I want to see a sign that says Lowe's rather than a number that says 613.
You're saying a 5-foot sign wouldn't cut it.
I don't think so. Look at the size of the guy in the picture. The street sign's not even 5 feet tall. I mean, when you see a sign that, you know, the railroad crossing signs are bigger than that.
And that's 5 square feet. That's not 5 feet in height.
Right.
That's 5 square feet minimum.
I mean, you see all
Less
the
than 2 by
advertising
3.
down there. It's just like, you know, gas stations over here, car washes over there. I don't know. I have no problem with the application, but
so,
I think it would be a dangerous situation.
well, can I add, because don't forget that, like, what, a block down, they're gonna be putting all those apartments in there.
Yeah.
So you don't, in my mind, if the truck driver misses the turn, where do they turn around?
Well, that's an issue with the apartments that are there or not.
True,
But you got residents
but you're
that are-
now
that are right
residents
there.
coming in and out, and it's getting more and more congested as time goes on. And I don't think that. I mean, there's no street sign there, so how do you know that street is where? I think it would be helpful. Put an arrow on it.
Does the planning board give any recommendation?
The applicant should consider a more appropriately sized directional sign. So they want it to be smaller, a little smaller.
Well, it can't be I mean, they say that they think that it should be 5 feet.
They didn't say that in here.
Well, that's what they used for their
They should-
rationale to
The
disapprove.
bylaw allows for a 5 square foot.
But they're saying if it's 10 feet, could be 6 feet, could be,
See, it's internally inconsistent. The bylaw says it can only be 5 feet. But they're saying, but if you want to do something less than 50, you know, if you do 40, maybe we'll be okay with it. I mean, that's.
They also
inconsistent.
didn't like the illumination,
And
which
that's
you
been
took out.
eliminated.
He eliminated that.
Right. Right. They didn't like it to be illuminated.
Well, so we have, the illumination is gone, the applicant's willing to put in a directional arrow within the sign. You know,
And enlarged 613, is that what you'd like? That's all, absolutely, be redesigned.
I don't know, does anybody have any other comment?
I
Should we read that?
just look at it as,
No,
I know what Tom's saying, but I don't see it like yeah, maybe it's advertising Lowe's name. However, it's addressing the real situation here is the location of the
All
address
right,
to
so-
show Lowe's is in the rear. So in other words, that's
okay,
basically,
so leave Lowe's in there and take Hopkins off.
what kind of companies,
They're
It's
just,
manufacturing distribution.
They
yeah,
just-
they don't
that's
have,
a
I'm sure they don't have
distribution
it, I don't think they have,
That's a distribution warehouse too?
no, I don't think so.
I don't know what that is.
Hopkins Associates.
Is that offices
It's
in there?
Holman's, there's no F in it.
I was
They're
told,
consultants,
If you're visiting due to
Pardon me?
COVID-19, give your healthcare provider.
the medical, it's not,
what is it?
their offices, they're,
I
there's a
was
medical
not- I was
doctors,
not
there's
told. I was told it was a distribution center.
Hopkins Associates, Wilmington.
It's Holman's though,
Holman's.
it's not, there's no F, that's what I was saying.
Dr.
Holman's.
Richard D. Hopkins.
Oh, I'm
MD.
sorry, I'll do it. Hoffman's Associates.
Holman's,
no,
no
no
F.
F.
All right, what is the matter with me? Holman's, sorry. Holman's Associates, Wilmington, Mass.
Holman's Associates. Here you
The
are.
distribution.
Distributor of HVAC equipment, supplies and mechanical insulation. So that's
Yep.
another distributor,
Yep, another distributor. Okay, I'm good.
all right?
So
All
can I
right.
make a motion?
Anyone like to make a motion on that?
So.
You were gonna make the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve to acquire a special permit, for 6.3.3.1 and statute 6.3.6.3 to allow for a sign, non-illuminated, with a directional arrow and that a significant number,
An enlarged
enlarged,
and bolded
bolded
number.
address number.
And can I amend that now, or?
Well, you can ask her if she wants, it's her
So
motion.
what, I just wanna make sure that the sign doesn't blossom as more things go in there.
Yeah, I agree, and that any, altering of the sign needs to
Come before the
come
board for
before
another
the
special
board
permit.
for anything, so,
Okay. Needs to be approved by the Board of Appeals.
other than what we stated, or,
Sure.
what was that phrase that, as agreed to, as shown? No, I guess,
No, it's gonna be his application. The only difference is with the application of the illumination has been eliminated.
yeah, the arrow,
He's gonna put an arrow on it, and he's going to put embolden and enlarge the address, and that any further additions to the sign, other than what's in there with Holman's and Lowe's, needs to come back before the board.
yeah,
Is that
Yes.
accurately stated in the motion?
accurately.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll say.
All right, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Okay.
Isn't it fun watching sausage being made?
Whatever you say.
Isn't it fun watching sausage being made?
I really do. I have grown up in this area. I grew up in Pittsburgh, in 1954, and that's been kind of a dangerous area, and now it's even growing too.
Yeah, well,
So I think it's a wise decision.
all right, well, good luck with it.
We will bring this to the building inspector.
Yeah.
And have him approve it, and.
Do you have the,
maybe bounce it up to chairman.
You're gonna have to work that up for a decision.
Yeah, so I gotta type the decision up. Dan will sign it, you'll get it,
Mhm.
and then you have to wait 20 days
Right,
from the date of that decision for any appeal,
okay.
and then you can submit the building permit once you
Great.
get that and record it.
Just let me know when you have the decision emailed
Okay.
to me, so.
Okay.
And how about in the drawing, the new drawing?
Yes,
I'll give it to
but
Kelly.
the decision's gonna state all these stipulations on it,
Yes.
so that's
Very
what
good.
it'll get recorded. Yeah.
Okay,
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 well,
excellent.
good luck, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a nice
Kelly.
night.
Yeah, you have a nice night as well.
thanks,
All right,
Mark.
thank you.
Happy retirement.
Thanks, Kelly.
All right.
This is
boy.
it for me, I'm heading
Woo.
for Florida Saturday.
Good for
Oh,
you.
is this your last official duty?
No, it was 3 weeks ago, they asked me to come by and do it.
So this is your last official duty?
Absolutely.
All right, well,
Good
congratulations
Thank
to
Good
you
for
very
you.
much. I enjoyed
Happy
it.
retirement.
Thanks,
All
Kelly.
right.
She is awesome.
Enjoy
Yeah,
the sun.
true.
I'll
Yeah.
see you in Florida.
All right, yeah, I invited her down.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Any administrative things, Kelly?
I do, I
Minutes?
have minutes, from July 14th meeting.
Okay,
Scary.
was everyone present?
Everyone was present.
So we
Oh,
should probably
can't do
defer
that.
those
Right.
until, Tony's back.
Got it. Okay.
And then our next meeting is not going to be the 10th. It's going to be the 17th of November.
As long as Tony is okay with that.
Yeah,
I'll
just,
shoot
it's
him an
provisional,
email.
provisional. So it's the
Correct.
10th now, but if Tony says that it works for him, it will be the 17th.
And I'll shoot out an email and text.
But as
him.
of now, it's still the 10th.
Right.
Yeah, just let
I
everybody
just
know.
have to change it.
Okay, if there's anything else, anybody else have anything to add?
Do you wanna
That's
talk
those-
about December, like December I won't be available.
Let's
So,
take
yeah.
that down the road. 'cause
Okay,
if
okay.
You
some
know what, I'll
people's
put that
schedules
out there in
might
an email too. And we
At
can-
all, you won't be in for December?
I won't be around until after the third week.
And then that runs
Definitely
into
the-
Christmas.
Whatever that Wednesday is around the fifteenth,
The
it's either
15th.
15th or the 13th, I think it's the 15th.
Everybody get your schedules together, we'll
Yeah.
discuss it in
Yeah.
November.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure, that's
Yeah,
All right.
the 15th.
because I can always change it. to
Anybody
maybe-
have anything
November,
further or
November.
wanna make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion seconded,
I say.
seconded, all those in favor? All right, go
All right, off
Sox.
the record, why is